So I'm wondering if maybe we should take a preliminary step of just defining what psychedelics are. I imagine a lot of people that are watching this might already know that, but for people that don't, maybe they think they know something that is not accurate. Could you just define what these are, maybe from the point of view of like science or medicine as well as the law?
Sure. So, when we use the word psychedelic, what we're talking about is a substance that, when ingested at a specific amount, which varies per substance, causes a psychedelic experience. Psychedelic experiences are characterized by changes in perception, which may include visual or auditory changes, changes in body temperature and feeling, and also emotional changes that can be long lasting after the experience. People sometimes describe this as an opening of their heart, a feeling of oneness, a feeling of deep truth. All of these things are happening at the same time. There are categories within psychedelics that are sometimes used in place of the word psychedelics. So, for example, a classical psychedelic or a classic psychedelic is typically one that works via antagonizing the 5-HT2AR receptors in the brain. These receptors latch on to compounds in these psychedelics and cause these beautiful psychedelic experiences for a certain amount of time. However, you can experience something very similar that acts on a different system in your body. These are sometimes called non traditional psychedelics, or even some people will call them disassociatives. And these compounds work on other systems. They work on systems like GABA or other neurotransmitters to cause a very similar feeling experience through a different mechanism. Psychedelics can be natural, which means they're found in nature in a psychedelic state. They're psychoactive from the time that you pick them up. They can be semi-synthetic, meaning that they're from naturally derived substances and we create them through a lab or through some sort of chemical reaction. Or they can be fully synthetic, meaning that they don't exist in nature and we create them in a lab. Most natural or semi-synthetic compounds can also be fully synthesized. We can mimic them in a lab. But it's important to kind of think about when we're talking about psychedelics, we're talking about compounds that may come from a lot of different places and may work in a lot of different ways, but are tied together by this experience, by this change in perception, change in mind, change in emotions that often leaves the person who's experienced it changed afterwards. They tend to hold on to these experiences and talk about them as if they were meaningful or true for them for a long period of time. When we talk about psychedelics in the law, we're also talking about chemicals that, due to a number of usually political reasons, have been criminalized via federal legislation and state legislation. Many of the traditional psychedelics, things like psilocybin and its main compound that it shifts into in the body, which is psilocin, those things are Schedule 1. We also see that with like LSD. We see that with basically every compound that you would think of when you're thinking of like a dare skit. Those things have been swept up into Schedule 1. There's been some confusion about that lately because of some executive orders that have given priority to breakthrough therapies. But right now, if it's a psychedelic that you can think of off the top of your head, it's probably still sitting on Schedule 1, even if it's being studied for its medical use.